Welcome to episode 92 of The Lowdown Show. I remain Neil Graham. Do you know where your parts come from? It's a serious question, one posted recently in a most unusual public confession by Nikola Maletic from Perun Moto, a manufacturer of high-end bits for your ADV motorcycle. Tired of having his parts copied by another manufacturer, even to the degree that they used his catalog photos and descriptions, well, he didn't get mad, go online, and lose his mind. How old-fashioned of him. Instead, he solicited the views of the public on what has become an issue of increasing concern. Where does the stuff we buy come from? Is it made in a manner that dovetails with our beliefs? Are employees paid living wages? And specific to this case, do we as purchasers have an obligation to honor intellectual property rights? And at the end of this episode, ADV writer managing editor Zach Kurlick joins me for a quick review of a sensible rack for a sensible man. But first, a few words from those who make the Lowdown possible. The Lowdown Show is presented by advwriter.com and supported by ebaymotors.com. eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. With their new secure purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery. It's all built in. And eligible vehicle purchases are backed by up to $100,000 in protection. This is what modern car buying looks like. Get your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Caramel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. Nikola, tell me about Perun Moto. What is it?
Well, yeah. Hi, Neil. Perun Moto, it's a small company. We are based in Belgrade, in Serbia. And we're focused on producing aftermarket parts for motorcycles. We are focused only on adventure motorcycles because that is what we ride. And we do a complete process from the blank canvas. We design products, we prototype them, test them really seriously, and then when we are satisfied, we put them for sale. But the process is not done then, because we continue to use them on our bikes for some time, and we incorporate some I don't know, if we see that something can be better, we put that in our racks. So the job is never finished. None of our products is like finished product and design is like finished. We always evolve our products.
So how does that, in real terms, how does that work? So let's take a particular project. I was looking at your rear rack for a Ducati Desert Cross. Desert Cross? Desert X? I never know what to call it.
Desert X, yes.
Desert X, okay. Desert X. Which I like the bike.
It's great.
I don't own it, but I like it. So I looked at the rack. So how do you go about, you have an idea, you come up with, I don't know, do you start with like little pieces of cardboard like the rest of us do when we're trying to figure out stuff?
Yeah, actually the process starts even before that. And in a way, it's like a dream job because there is several of us. Perun Moto is a small company. Only 5 of us is working here, and me and my colleague Gliga, we are like adventure riders. And then there are 2 guys, Victor and Marco. They are engineers and they work on the machines. And there is Milena, who is working on invoicing and everything. So Gliga and I and several of my riding buddies, we of course follow the market closely. We always look for the new bikes, for the new models. We follow the forums, we ride. And when we see something new coming out, if that is interesting bike to any of us, then we wait for it to come to the market. And usually we buy the bike as soon as it's possible, as soon as it hit the dealer's floor. Then we bring it here in the workshop and we start riding it. And slowly we see what we can do to improve it. Of course, over the years, we focused on luggage carrying capacities. So we are mostly mostly focused on luggage racks and like a small tie down points and things like that. So we start riding the bike. We have you don't see it, but there is a shelf with the plastic boxes, and there is over 30 boxes, and each box contains some of the most popular luggage systems on the market: Moto, Enduristan, Kriega, Wolfman, Giant Loop. We start traveling with the bike, camping, going off-road, using it and abusing it. And then we see what can be made better on the bike, so you can strap your luggage more easily and that your luggage stays on the bike more securely. And then the real design process begins. You're right. Mostly it starts with the cardboard models. Of course, we evolved over the years, so now we do a 3D scan of the bike to help us. But unlike some other companies, only having a 3D scan and working only on a 3D scan is not something we do. We need to have the bike in our workshop, and not just somebody to lend us a bike, so we have like a time frame to finish the products within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or something like that. We need to have the bike, to own the bike, so we can have like full freedom to test everything, to make prototype. Maybe if we see we hit a dead end, we start over, so we're not like bound with some time frame. And then when the CAD model, computer model is finished, we do 3D printing, plastic models to see how it looks on the bike. And then we start like real prototyping. We make custom fixtures out of the solid aluminum blocks. We mill something like, to explain to somebody who is not familiar with the machining, we design something that we put on the machine, and then we put the aluminum pieces on that fixture so we can mill it properly from all angles. Then we machine it, we bend it, everything we do here in-house, except finishing processes like powder coating and anodizing. That's like heavy industry process, so we don't do it here. And then we continue to use them on the bikes, to test them, to ride them. And again, we're not afraid to start all over if we're not completely happy with the process. And sometimes we have like A/B testing. We have like 2 different models of the racks, so we test them parallel to see what works better. And when we're completely satisfied with the outcome, then we go to the market. So it's like longish process. Sometimes if I'm inspired with the bike and if the weather is okay, unlike now it's 40 centimeters of snow, but if the weather is nice and if I'm inspired with the bike and if everything goes okay, we can have like a working prototype within like 2 weeks, but sometimes it takes up to 2 months.
Now, this idea that scanning a bike in 3D and making it digitally in a computer. And let me tell you this story, because my wife had a KTM RC390, and I swear that none of the engineers ever changed the oil because it was so awkward. And you had these little plastic push pins, and every time you tried to take them off, you'd break them. So I bought a pail of them. But there's a difference. Well, or tell me if I'm wrong, right or wrong. There's a difference between coming up with something theoretically in a computer and then making a physical item that goes on a motorcycle. I'm guessing it's very different.
I'm very glad you asked that question because I completely agree with you. The 3D scanning is just another tool in our arsenal, but the design process, in my opinion, and for the parts we do, it just can't be based exclusively on 3D scan. Some of the companies on the market now, and I don't have anything against them, but they need to compete with the serious competition, so they need to come out with the new products every month or so. So they're based on designing only in CAD, on 3D models. They rent the bike or they borrow the bike, they scan it, and then they work on the 3D scan from then on. Maybe when they finish the product, the design, they get the bike again to make some photos, but basically they do everything in CAD. I don't think that's the best approach. It is a viable approach if the designer is has extreme experience in the subject, and maybe he can do a good job, but not always, in my opinion, because it's essential to have the bike.
Because you need to know if I mean, it's gonna sit on. I mean, the things for me with luggage, it's always the wheel, the chain, and the exhaust, isn't it?
The swing arm also.
The swing arm, and everything's
Yes.
moving, and so
Yeah,
how do you?
that's another thing with
yeah.
with the bikes in general, because bikes, they're dynamic things that
Yes.
you don't keep the bike in your garage and just look at it, you ride it. So, and during the ride you have to move on the bike, especially for the off-road riding. You need to move on the bike. The bike will fall. You need to be sure that when the bike falls, nothing or not too much will bend, nothing will be damaged. There is not many things that can hurt the rider in some awkward cases when you fall in some weird manner or something like that. So to have the really finished design, you need to ride it, you need to test it, you need to have the bike and not just ride it one time. You need to go on, in our case, on several trips. You need to use several luggage options on the bike. You need to lost yourself on the bike, to go through mud, to fall, to pull the bike out of the mud, to put it back again, because many times you design the product and everything looks great in the garage, and then you go for a ride, you fall, and then you realize there is no way you can grab the bike to pull it back up. But of course sometimes that's necessary, but a lot of things can be prevented by really thorough design and testing.
So you've developed this product, you come up with a design, you workshop it, you machine it, you make a test mule, you ride it, you fall off, you do all these things, and then you finally come up with something that you like. And then what sort of quantities are you selling these in? Are you selling tens of thousands of pieces, or is it less than that?
Yeah, another good question. Much less than that, because we don't have solid data. It's very hard to come to the precise projections of how many new bikes is sold worldwide every year, each model. But over the years, we came to the conclusion that our sales are mostly tied to the sales of new bikes. So somebody buy a new bike, brand new bike, go to the dealership, buy a new bike, and then he equips it according to his or her needs. So our sales are based on the sales of new bikes. And that number, especially because our product range is very limited due to our design process. So numbers we sold are our best sellers sold in few hundreds a year, but we have a lot of products that we sell less than 100 a year, which is okay. And the point is that final number, the best thing we can do, that is limited. The number is final, because if there is 7,000 KTM 690s sold in US every year, there is only 7,000 potential customers, but of course a lot of them don't use the bike in the way they need our racks and something like that. So the number of potential customers is very limited.
And then of course, obviously, all the competition that exists through various
yes, of course, yes.
other brands and so on, which leads us into one of the major issues that we want to talk about. And you made a really articulate Facebook post recently, articulate and calm, which is of course unusual for the internet, where we just start off angry and get angrier. That seems to be the way we do things. But your post was about some of the challenges that face your business. And what specifically do you see as one of the most serious challenges for you being able to keep your company going and healthy?
the post was not done out of anger and not done out of desperation, because knock on wood, the company is still very healthy. We're profitable. We don't make fortunes, but the business model is, I guess, sustainable.
Yes.
But everything is, from my point of view, is deteriorating. And even more for some other companies in our line of business that we are in contact with some, I don't want to name anyone on the internet because they have their own reasons not to come out with this, and I respect that. But I know almost everyone, every reputable company that you know of and our viewers, listeners know of, they're struggling a bit because this culture, I don't know how to say it, of copying is really, really huge. It became huge. So I post that first on ADV Rider.
So just to summarize, so you're talking about a handful of companies like yourself that make low production number, high quality items specifically for ADV riding, because that's what we're talking about. And then you're comparing it to the companies, many of which are overseas, China, India, and elsewhere, who knock off designs of yours and produce a cheaper version. And of course, as you talked about, they don't have some of the challenges that you have when they knock it off, do they?
Yes, exactly. So basically, for somebody who's not into the subject, I explained how we design things, and you asked and I answered, so people can see that total sale numbers of our products are relatively low. So when one product is sold in limited quantities, the percentages of research and development costs are big in price of that product, because we have limited number of products that will sell only 3 or 4 or 5 years. That's the life cycle of one motorcycle model. So we need to make some profits, of course, and we need to pay for that research and development we do. And there is a lot of companies nowadays on the internet selling direct copies of our products, the products that are 100% copy of something that we did. They don't own those motorcycles. They probably never sold those motorcycles. They even very often use photos of our products on our bikes from this same workshop on their websites. The text on their product pages is copy-pasted text from our Perun Moto web store, so complete copies. But that started like several years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and it started like a low profile on Amazon. On AliExpress. We saw a direct copy of our rack for KTM 690, and at first I didn't know what to think about that. It was amusing in a way. I felt flattered in a way. I wasn't afraid, because there was a big difference between buying product from AliExpress and buying product from us. But over the years and relatively quickly, that became a real problem, because now there are like companies, and I will feel free to mention them here. I hope you don't mind.
Please do.
Like Nice CNC, who are completely based on copying other companies, but they're disguising that as selling their own designs, their own products. That they're and it was funny for me when I saw their Instagram page, and they represent themselves as leading innovators in the field, and that was like, that didn't felt good. And what happens next? Because the companies like that, they don't copy just one company. They didn't copy just us. They copied a lot of other reputable companies, mostly from US. And now they're offering a huge number of products under their brand name, Nice CNC. And that gives them a big leverage in the internet marketing because they have a lot of products. They don't have any R&D costs, and they can invest a lot of in internet marketing. And then when you search Google for something or Bing, original designers and the real legit companies designing and manufacturing these products are on the second or third page, and the copycat companies are on the first page of Google. And if you're not really educated customer, you will never know that you're buying like a stolen design.
eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. It's all thanks to their new secure purchase. Ever try to buy a car and end up in a parking lot with a stranger in some blind trust? Or spend half the day at a dealership talking to pushy salespeople and signing paperwork? Or maybe, worst of all, waiting for hours at the DMV just to transfer the title? Well, that era is over. For years, eBay has been the go-to for gearheads, collectors, and do-it-yourselfers because whatever you're into, from classics to SUVs to trucks to imports, eBay's got it. And now with secure purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your next ride, it's where you can buy it, start to finish. Sellers and titles are verified, paperwork is handled by experts, and payments are traceable and digital. So you know exactly who you're dealing with and exactly what you're getting. Plus, you can finance, insure, and register your vehicle all in one place. No more hours at the dealership, no more trips to the DMV. Get your vehicle plates and paperwork shipped to your door, ready to drive. And it's all part of one seamless process, designed to feel as easy as buying anything else online. And eligible vehicles purchased on eBay are backed by up to $100,000 in purchase protection. Thinking about selling your ride? Secure Purchase makes that simple too, because you know your buyer and their funds are verified. If you still own your car, the financing payoff is fully integrated. So you're not chasing paperwork or waiting on checks to clear. And with Secure Purchase, you get paid fast. And you're not going to be stuck chasing no-shows or answering the fifth, "Is it still available?" message. This is what modern car buying looks like. Skip the DMV, skip the sketchy meetups, buy it on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Caramel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. Well, after we had this conversation when I invited you on the podcast, I went to Nice CNC's website, and it's a nice website, isn't it? I mean, it looks really professional and it's well done. Now, in the early days, you were saying they would take your descriptions, they would take your photographs even, and obviously they would get rid of logos or anything that would identify the product as strictly yours. But the images they were using to sell were essentially the same. And at one point, they even started putting their logo on it. Correct?
Yes.
So,
yes, exactly.
So you got the situation where somebody's, taking your stuff and claiming it as theirs. Now, what is the price difference? If you can take a particular item, give us an example of the price difference and the difference in, at least, and this is something I hope you've seen directly. What's the difference in materials and the difference in cost between yours and the copycat?
Yes. Now we're coming to one subject, which I believe is the reason that some of my colleagues, business owners, original designers are not willing to discuss this on the internet. Because when the copying started and when they sold copies on AliExpress, the copies were cheap. The material was much inferior to the materials we used. The finishing was much inferior, and everything was like a really low quality, no name, really like bad.
Yes.
There were a lot of issues with those products. The holes weren't aligning well and things like that. But I must admit, they improved their quality significantly. It doesn't work in my favor to say this, but now in some cases you will get like 90% of our quality for, let's say, 60 to 65% of the price.
Right.
And of course, things are changing for them too, because at the beginning, their prices were really low. And over the time, they started probably when they went into the market a bit deeper and when they started to see that they're like visible, the prices are slowly raised. They raise the prices of their products. For instance, our rack for Ducati Desert X, the base price is like $200 and their price is like $140, something like that, which very nicely correlates to the difference we have in our R&D costs, and they don't have.
Right, because you'd have. I'm guessing you would have $60 worth of R&D into amortized over each item that you sell. You'd have that much in R&D, correct?
Yeah, maybe. To be honest, maybe a little bit less, because
Right.
they're based in China, and I want to be completely clear that I don't have anything against Chinese manufacturers or anything like that.
No,
I'm
you
just
in fact,
speaking about
in your
facts here,
in your
yes.
in your
And
post, you sorry to interrupt. In your post, you went out of the way to say that this isn't about country of origin
yes, of
at
course.
all.
And
Yes.
there is a lot of Chinese companies that are doing really good job, like CF Moto, Covey, or something like that. They're really bringing something new to the market. But in this case, it's like stealing other designs and copying it. And they have a huge manufacturing capacities, and their quality can be exceptional. That there is no question about that. So if there is not, we're not speaking about the quality now, and because the quality is, we are better, our quality is better, our finishing is better, the powder coating we use is better, anodizing we use is better, but I can't say that we're like double the quality comparing to nice CNC. Far from that. And that's what that's where the problem is, because if they are like selling cheap, low quality items, then there would be no problem here. The situation would be clear, but unfortunately that is not the case.
Well, after you made your post, it was interesting. You made the post, and it ended up on ADV Writers Forum, and then it eventually made it to Facebook. And I read through all of the comments on Facebook, and it was an interesting exercise to see kind of how much we value intellectual property, which is what it is, intellectual property. And a lot of people, first of all, didn't know this, then they weren't aware of the fact. And a lot of people had bought knockoff items of yours, and a lot of people bought the real thing. A lot of people a huge number of people came to your defense saying, I buy their stuff because it is better. And people had bought the knockoff stuff and not had great experiences. Some people had bought the knockoff stuff and said, yes, it's not as good, but it's good enough for me for what I do. There was a real range of responses. And of course, a lot of people said, well, now that I know this, I'm only going to buy your stuff. Of course, the thing that I wonder as a skeptic, do you say it on the Facebook post, but then when it comes to really buying it, what are you going to do when there's that difference in cost? How are you going to do it? And so this leads me to my question, which is there anything that you can do legally to protect yourself from having products taken? And we're not talking like design or similar design. We're talking about a product that is obviously, taken from you directly and by another manufacturer. Is there anything you can do about that?
Yes, that is also a good question. Until 3 years ago, I myself was not aware of the legal side of the things, but now I am. And it's actually amazing on several levels. And it's not complicated, it's simple. But here how the things are. First, there is a patent, and you can protect the patent. But in order to protect the patent, you need to meet certain requirements for the patent, and things we do that are fitted to some other things, to the bikes, they can't be patented. because, for instance, luggage rack on 690, it can only be mounted in one way, and the bike dictates it. So you can't patent that whole pattern because it originates from the bike and not from your product.
Oh, I see. Right.
So most of the products used in motorcycle industry, aftermarket industry, can't be patented. But you can protect the design. Here is the thing. To protect the design, there is a certain process, which is not too complicated, but it is time consuming and it requires some money. And you protect design for geographical areas. So you can protect one design only for Serbia, but it won't be protected anywhere else. Of course, that doesn't mean anything. But you can protect one design for European Union, for USA, for Canada, for Australia, for United Kingdom, and for everything you have, like, it's not completely different process, but in effect it is. And you have to pay the fee for each country where you protect your design. And when you do everything, you only have the base for the legal protection. So that only gives you right to file a lawsuit against somebody who is using your design. And if the company who is stealing your designs is based in Asia or in China, there is basically nothing you can do, because according to their law, you need to go to that country and to hire their attorney and to start the legal battle there. And that is really like fruitless, even for companies like BMW. And of course, that's high above our what we did and what we could do when they used our photographs from our photographs. Not AliExpress, but Amazon and eBay, they removed when we complained and when we told them that they're using our photographs to sell their products, they were okay about that, and they removed those listings. But tomorrow another listing was made, and somebody else was selling the same product. And eventually, and that was like really quickly, in 2 months, I realized that it's like organized thing, and there is no way I can battle that. So we just gave up. So legally, there is nothing you can do.
Have you approached Nice CNC directly? Have you reached out to the company?
Yes, of course. I'm not someone who like use internet to vent, and I always have an assumption that maybe there is some mistake, some misunderstanding or something like that, and that we can sort that out before going out publicly. I reached out to them 2 years ago, and after some time I got some generic answer like, oh, we are sorry, we didn't know it was your design. We don't manufacture products by ourselves. We buy them from the machine shops who make them, and they just sold them that, and we won't do that anymore. But of course, that was like a really empty promise. Like 2 weeks after that, I saw more of our products being sold.
I think one of the benefits of you doing this is you immediately differentiate them from you. You know, you're a guy, there's 5 of you, you answer questions, people see what you look like, which is very different than other companies, than a company making knockoff products. What about the answers and some of the comments? Because you solicited people's comments, and you also, and some people said, you know, flat, I'm going to buy what's cheapest. And you responded and said, you know, thank you for your honesty. So what did you gain, do you think, from coming out and being public like this? Because this is, you know, as you said, it's very unusual for a business owner. They might tell people like us in private, or that you might talk to other, you know, people that work in the trade. But to come out and make a public post like this, and of course, you know, what you're doing is making a lot of people aware of Nice CNC that didn't know what it was before. So what did you learn from the comments that people wrote back to you?
Yeah, that thing you said, that I'm making people aware of nice CNC, people who didn't know for them in the past. That is the reason why many of my colleagues, company owners, are quiet about this. They're afraid that they will just advertise nice CNC and that they will tell people where they can buy cheaper copies of their own products. But I think we're past that point. I think that because if you look at the internet and just use simple Google search, nice CNC will be ranked as high as we are or even higher. So why be delusional and think that people don't know about them? They know. Yeah. There were some comments from people who said they never heard of nice CNC, but they know us. But there were some other comments from people who said they don't know who Perun Moto is, but they know who nice CNC was. And also important thing is that the Facebook post was posted on our company's Facebook page. So basically that is those are like our customers. It's not like perfect sample of the market. I didn't have any clear goals with this. I really and honestly value our customers, especially because here in Perun Moto, me and Gliga, we are also adventure riders and we ride a lot. So I see our customers as I look at us. So I felt the need to hear from them, to see what they think. And again, I'm completely okay with people buying from them, knowing those are copies of our products, because in some point of somebody's life, you may not have enough funds, you're maybe on a tight budget, you have some more important things to invest in, and this hobby is like a lifetime hobby. So I don't see any problem somebody getting cheaper products, copies of our products, but hopefully when they can afford, they will support us again. Maybe not, I don't know, but it's their right. I can't say. I see even on the trails, because here I don't know if you're aware, there is like a European project. It's called TET, Trans-European Trail.
Yes.
It's like BDR in US, and part of that TET is going for Serbia, and we ride in neighboring countries, Romania, Bosnia, and so on. So we meet a lot of people, and some of them they have nice CNC products on their bikes, and I have nothing bad to say to them. It's completely normal. But the post gave me like good insight in what general public thinks about this, and I'm happy with what I learned. That people know for us, that they know nice CNC are copying us, and that's all I want. I want people to know, and whatever they decide, I'm completely okay with that.
The Lowdown Show is presented by adbrider.com and supported by ebaymotors.com. Zach, this week's little bit of product information is going to head us straight down the Ventura Highway. So talk to me about this.
That is what happens when you become middle-aged and you start to value practicality and ease of use more than you value aesthetics.
Oh my God, you've won me over already.
That's my Suzuki Bandit 1200S, and on the back of it, I have a Ventura pack rack. And I think the Ventura pack rack is the answer to most people's motorcycle touring problems. It's easy to install, it's easy to use, it's my favorite piece of luggage.
Well, it looks like some sort of athletic, like home exercise equipment from this angle. So can you do pull-ups on the bar, or explain this to me?
Well, it's a simple system, but ugly, but simple. Basically, you've got a sissy bar that attaches behind your seat, and then Ventura makes a bag with a little sleeve in the back of it that perfectly fits over that sissy bar. So
Oh,
when you
I
want to go
see.
for a ride, yeah, you take your bag, stuff all your gear into it, and then just slide that pocket over the sissy bar. So there's no real fiddling around, wondering if stuff will fit. It just, if it fits in the bag and the bag will fit over that sissy bar, everything stays planted. And it's a great way to not only tour, but I've also used it a lot for basic grocery getting, commuting sort of chores. It's a
Now,
very
can the bag be oriented either forward or rearward so you can carry a passenger too?
yeah. When you go through Ventura's literature, they recommend that the bag sit over your passenger seat if you're riding solo, and that leaves you the back of the rack for mounting camping equipment and other stuff, other lighter stuff. This is the way to keep things nice and centralized, keep your weight centralized, and put your air mattress or something else that's lighter just strapped to the rear of the rack. But if you were carrying a pillion passenger, or if you had another second bag that you wanted to carry, you can flip the Ventura bag to face backwards, because that pocket that's sewn into the back of the bag will fit either way over the sissy bar. And you can point the bag backwards and then strap other things to your rear seat, including a pillion.
Where can I find out more information about the Ventura rack?
If you go to ventura-bike.com, you can find listings for all of their current production bags that are available in the US. Pricing does vary by model. So I can't give you a price for your bike, but I can tell you that I got the one that's on my bike for an excellent price because I bought it off ADV Riders Forum. It was used, and I think I paid $100 for it. And I consider that a bargain. I think they're about twice that when you buy new.
Oh, you've got a nose for value, Zach. I can't dispute that.
Yeah, a Suzuki with a used piece of luggage on it. Now that's value.
That's nothing quite says Zach from New Brunswick than Suzuki with used luggage. eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. Ever try to buy a car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger and some blind trust? Well, that era is over. Now, with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery. It's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Caramel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. Thank you for listening to The Lowdown Show.